Salut tout le monde. Comment ça va? Bienvenue à Fishy Film Fridays. How are you all doing? Was that a good enough French?
Good,
That
oui,
was,
oui.
I definitely knew that was French for sure.
Yeah, French Canadian, so it had a little bit of different. Well, hey, we got our next installment of Fishy Film Friday, and I am continuing to make very questionable picks in my film portfolio of
Interesting.
recommendations. And we are here with the 1986, I think it was 86, yeah, Decline of the American Empire, which this was a different one. The French Canadians out of Quebec, they definitely gave Trump a few reasons to look at not having them become the 51st state after having to view this one. I'm joined by recently accomplished athletes of the Northeast region, Mr. Tim Apple and Danny Ocean. I congratulate both of you on your physical prowess and capabilities. It's quite significant.
Yes.
As far as you come, I can remember a couple years ago, some people were just kind of scrounging for the last drip of any vape pods, and now here they are running sub 8-minute miles. Amazing.
Yeah, we are officially Iron Men, so let's take a moment.
We ran the Ironman in an unnamed northeastern location. Tim was sponsored by the Apple Corporation, and I was pulling off a bank heist to get my ex-lover back.
What is that reference to?
Danny Ocean, what the?
Oh.
That was a deep
I
one.
was imagining a world in which Tim Apple and Danny Ocean were running.
Now I get it. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, I'm happy both of you are getting in shape because our military.
I'm happy that. What do you? Wait a second. Hold on. Tim and I are in shape. You are out of shape. We're not getting into shape.
Give me like 1 month. I'll be fine doing all of my half.
No, what you do is starve yourself, and then you're still not actually in good shape. Your weight fluctuates, but that doesn't mean fitness.
Dude, it's the Jonah Hill level of athleticism. You're accountable.
You got a big photo day coming up in your life. I think it's time to start thinking about those LBs, leaving them in the hotel room after when you leave. You know what I'm saying? Hit that treadmill.
Oh boy. We'll go do a run tomorrow morning.
What was that?
What was I gonna say?
That was like a weird gesture.
What?
I don't know if it's a lag or like that.
I don't know what that was.
Lag. Oh boy, I won't move too much. But hey, we're happy that you guys are peak athletic performance. As some have said, this is the best shape they've ever been in their lives because we're gonna need you. We're getting rid of all the they thems in our military, and we need some strong young men like you that are good Catholic boys to bring faith and honor back to this service. So
I'd rather kill myself.
Yeah.
Speaking of killing yourself, French Canadians.
You're not doing any of our normal bits where we do like, oh, hey, it's this person. Oh, hey, it's this person. You just want to yap.
I did. I gave you both the floor.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, shout out to the new Pope.
Yeah.
Who is an alumni of an institution that I am an alumni of. That's right. I went to the Pontifical Academy of Thomas Aquinas in the Vatican.
Yeah.
But
and
yeah,
also
shout out to that guy. Shout out to Papa Leone.
Yeah, and shout out to the Afrikaners who just made their way over from South Africa. I think it's important that we take care of all refugees on the planet, and I'm glad that we're starting with the most pressing ones. And I think we should get the French Canadians next because they obviously need eradicating.
Oh.
Cool.
Oh, nice. Yep. So has anyone, besides our watching or viewing of The Voyeurs with Sydney Sweeney a few months back, I'm
not getting any of that. I'm not getting any of that.
Films or... Oh, was that lag?
Have we watched any Canadian films?
Dude, you are so, it's like unlistenable.
What Canadian films have we watched? We did see...
Canadian films in general?
Tenacious D felt Canadian. For sure. Cat in the Hat had Mike Myers. He's Canadian.
I don't actually know.
And
Well, The Voyeurs was
what?
Canadian technically,
Oh my God! Yes,
Yeah,
it
that
was.
said the Voyeurs.
which actually that gives a theory that the Canadians are just horny bastards.
It was Quebecians too.
Yeah,
But I didn't know. God damn, were they
That might
French
help.
in this? Jeezy peasy.
they were French, but we might need to,
They were very French.
We
Jared.
got to fix Jared's.
All right, so the decline of the American Empire. I was recommended this by some Canadian colleagues, saying it was a very, very funny film, as funny as Canadian Bacon, which, if you know, the John Candy movie from the '90s. So I thought this was gonna be like a fun '80s raunchy comedy.
That's funny.
Totally not the case. This was very, very much. This is something that definitely, Danny, you would probably have picked if you knew this existed beforehand. It just seemed very you coded all over it.
I think that's true. I mean, Danny, it has intellectuals. They're philosophizing, and they're talking about
Concubines.
orgies and stuff.
Yeah, I
Very.
mean, one of my reactions was like, "Who got this raw footage of our podcast?"
Yeah.
But yes, it was. There really wasn't much plot to this besides actually just
Yeah.
conversation and like the witty.
No plot at all.
Like, if we want to talk about, we've
Yeah,
done some movies that have no
it's
plot.
tough.
What would be another movie that you said has like no plot? We did. I feel like Mamma Mia
Mamma
might have had
Mia.
more plot than this.
Yeah, but like, what happens in this? So there's women talking about sex. There's men talking about sex,
And then
and
they get together at one point of dinner.
and then they get together and have dinner, and then they talk more, and some people fuck, and some people cry, and then they have brunch, and then they leave. Like, that's the movie.
That's the movie.
It's just a day in the life of just people talking, and like that's really what it is. It's a bunch of cutbacks and fadeaways of people and their infidelities or sexual fantasies. And maybe this is part of that decline that we talk about. Funny that they're the French Canadian films call it the decline of American empire, yet they see themselves declining. So I thought that was a bit funny in itself. This film did receive a lot of awards. I think it won Canes or Cons? Canes?
BAFTA?
BAFTA? Con.
Canes, Raising Canes.
It won the Raising Canes Best Fingering Award. But
if only. I was like, oh, maybe there's going to be some great sex scenes, and like there was one really weird scene at the massage parlor.
Oh, the massage.
Yeah.
I was going to say the swinger one was actually weirder for me. Like.
Oh yeah, true.
Had all that eye contact. But let's kind of meet some of the characters.
Dude, if you asked me gun to my head, name a character, I'd be like Remy, and I wouldn't even know who that was.
Remy, yes. Well,
blood of the toilet. The blood in the toilet is a character.
Also, that was bad fake blood. But here, we'll go in order. So there's Dominique, who was the like head professor lady.
No idea who that is.
She was the lady who was writing the book. She was being interviewed at the beginning.
Short blonde Bob?
Short blonde Bob.
Black Bob.
That was a bit older. Oh. And she slept with the younger guy at the end.
And she sleeps with the young guy at the end?
She's actually slept with all.
Who's the young guy?
I thought
she sleeps with the young guy at the end. That's who we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
You thought it was Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. I also think, I was kneeling on my knees a couple days ago, and I really tried to figure out who she is. And I think she's Eve. She's Eve after she had the apple. She's a bit enlightened.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yes. Then our main male guy was Remy, who was exquisitely out of shape.
So smelly,
banging so much. I could smell him through the.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me of you a lot, Jared.
What, banging a lot? Having
and his body.
And
his body.
Yeah, I'll take some of that. But he, history professor.
I do want to make a generalization as you're going through these characters. They all look like they reek. Pu. They all look like they smell stinky.
Because they're French, or why?
That's a part of it. Yes.
Do you think?
But dead teeth, like they're talking, and there's like teeth that are dead, and they have boils. They're just gross.
But these are normal looking people, man. They probably like if they watch us, they'd probably be wondering the same thing. Like
Well, they're
we're
freaks.
icky. Like
When I
what
watch a
the
film, I want to think hot. I want to think that. Where's
well,
Sydney
he that
Sweeney? I thought this was Quebec. I mean, what the
The
fuck?
woman who
yeah.
does the massage parlor scene, I thought she was a pretty
Yeah,
attractive
yeah,
She
woman.
was
yeah.
pretty. She was pretty. All right, so you have Louise, the wife of Remy, who Louise was like okay with him being unfaithful as long as he did it away from home, which home was Montreal for them. So it was
Who is
like
that
the
woman? What did she look like?
Louise, the short hair that was the oldest looking them all. She was the one talking the most during like their workout scenes.
Sure.
Then there's
Yeah.
Claude. Claude is the gay guy
Sort of the
who's
bum.
pissing the
Oh,
bot and
Claude's the gay
pissing the
guy.
blood. Yeah.
So can we talk about? I mean, can we just jump into what he said and what the big problem is about what he said, or are we gonna just talk about it later?
Who,
Who?
me?
The gay guy.
What do you say?
That
The gays?
12-year-old's butts are the best
Oh,
butts, and then everyone was like, "Oh, I guess so. I guess he's right." I'm like, okay, here's the only gay character. Let's make him a pedophile. It's like,
and an
And have
HIV
AIDS.
haver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and have it for no reason, for no, absolutely no reason, just
I think,
tone deaf.
yeah, I think people do criticize the movie for basically being a conservative screed.
A screed. What do you mean by screed?
That's like a word that people use to say like, oh, it's like kind of like a rant.
Mm.
Like it's just like this French Canadian guy being like, no having sex, no personal pleasure.
Uh,
And then he's like, the gay guy is a pervert and has AIDS and should have been a straight person.
uh,
Yeah.
Potentially.
you guys ever
I
watch The Big Chill?
No,
no idea
actually.
what that is.
Big Chill is with God fucking damn it. Who's the guy from Jurassic Park with the glasses?
Oh, Jeff Goldblum.
Wow. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum, thank you.
Wow.
But
That's Owen Wilson.
it's oh yeah, you're right. But Big Chill is like an American movie about all these friends that come and they live together and they all sort of had relationships and it. I was very reminded of this film. Like this is a bad Big Chill where you don't like any of the characters. There's no music. Um, it's just these. I didn't like any of these characters. I know you didn't finish going through them, but they're all the same. You know, they're all just
You know what?
reprehensible.
I kind of like the young kid.
He looks so much
Sure,
like
I like the
Bradley
young
Cooper.
kid.
If you look him
Shut
up,
the
he looks
fuck up. He does not.
very Bradley Cooper looking.
Bro, maybe your stream was lagging because you got bad quality, but that is not what he looked like.
He looked like a young Bradley Cooper. Here we'll set up the first scene then, which I kind of saw this as a very distinct three acts of the film. You had your act of like getting everyone horned
Sure.
up. They all talked about their sex lives. Then you have dinner is served, and then you have like the climax of dinner and like all the blow up at the end, which is typical of a lot of movies narratives. But I thought it was pretty interesting how they had the two groups divided in the beginning, especially as we are an all white cis male podcast, which is nothing to be wrong about. They all the men were cooking dinner while the women were working out, and both of them were having very, very similar conversations,
That's
bragging
actually a
about
good point. The cooking and the working out thing is interesting.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. Good job.
yeah, which I thought they were at like a Canadian Curves, but they were actually like just at a regular gym because there's like those two dudes with those tight buns that they kept looking at. I thought there was gonna be like some horniness there with them.
Well, there was, I think.
It
There
And
was
the
was
just
looking.
desire. It was the looking. Um,
Yeah.
It was an
what
interesting gym. I mean, very sterile gym.
It was giving Soviet to me.
it
Mm-hmm.
was the '80s. I think that's
Hungry.
yeah. I feel like we just never got exposed to that. Um,
Yeah,
but
I mean, the fashion was incredible in this film. It looks like, I mean, you put any of those outfits on any person in Philadelphia, and it would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's just like a thrifted outfit.
Yeah, I didn't. The outfits didn't even stand out to me. Maybe that is just like what people be wearing these days.
That's
most
like what
people in
people are wearing
Ohio
these days.
wouldn't look
Lots of
good in
like,
those.
there's a recent picture of Jay Red wearing some clothing in the picture with some coworkers and some famous people,
Sure,
and his outfit is basically identical to the outfits that the men are wearing.
That's a good
epic.
picture.
Maybe he was inspired by it.
Maybe, maybe.
Viewing was after my encounter with fame, my brush up with fame.
And what are these dirty French men making? They're making like fish and trout. They're
Fish
disgusting.
pie.
Yes, dude, it looks so good. They instead of using salmon, what did they end up using? Was it a tuna?
Trout. Which, by the way, first time we've had a fish in a Fishy Film Friday film in a while.
Yes, we were
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
fish.
yeah.
And it
We
was
were
a pretty
fish
prominent
celibate.
fish placement. This was not just a casual fish moment.
Oh, definitely a lot of love and passion in that fish. Like that was think about. There's 4 men making that fish.
Ugh, with their disgusting hands, like
And the one guy threatened to like spit his saliva with AIDS in it on it. Remember? He made that comment. He was very being casual about his AIDS references. I don't know how I felt about that.
Well,
Yeah.
people sometimes make jokes about things, and I think it says something about their characters, right? Like they all reveal things about themselves, but they're not really. It's almost they don't mean it, or
Well, this brings
I
up
don't
one of my
know.
first talking points and it goes back to how we separate the men and the women in this, and it's how we like compartmentalize. Wow,
Compartmentalize.
honesty, pleasure, and like the confession amongst each other. Like when you're around a group of dudes, the things you might share with them are going to be way different than you might ever share with either one, your significant other, or two, a mixed gender group of people. Do you
True.
agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. But
Would this be
I
okay? Go
will
on.
say that I don't really have conversations about my sex life as in depth as those men do when I speak to other men. I may say things that are like more like I will say raunchier things, but it won't be necessarily about my personal.
Right.
And so, but my understanding, what I hear is that women do more of that when they're in a closed group setting. Men will say disgusting things about other people or something, but like it's not like you and I will be like, oh well, her like for
The
example, like,
labia
oh well,
was
this is how this
throbbing.
person, this is how wet this person's pussy gets. Whereas like women will be like, well, this is how big this guy's dick is. You know what I'm saying?
I think guys
Mm-hmm.
do that. We just don't because we're classy and we don't kiss and tell.
Really? I find that hard to believe, but okay.
Well, but Remy, the
Interesting.
guy who was being like the most bragging the whole time, the guy who had a wife and was like, he also was proud, like, hey, I've been married for 15 or 20 years, and I actually sleep with these other women because it actually makes me fuck my wife even better because I don't fuck them as good. It keeps me practicing, but when I come home, I'll make love to her even better. Um, so I think he's willing to degrade and talk poorly of these people because he doesn't have that emotional connection. But like men and women will never try to, or men will never try to downgrade their emotionally connected one. Where in the opposite of this film, they started talking about like men's little wieners and stuff, even of the men they were connected to. Well, that was the Italian hookup. Actually, I
Mm.
take that part back. Which I thought that was funny when
Yeah,
they were talking about
interesting.
like a 2-inch Italian dick.
Yeah.
Italians are known for having larger wieners, if you were unaware.
I liked the workout scenes with the ladies. I think the camera work was really interesting when they were doing laps on the track.
Mm-hmm.
That was some good little shot, reverse shot, and then also when they're like doing the machines, there's a lot of cuts that are really interesting,
Yeah.
It kept it
very
Yeah.
engaging.
aesthetically pleasing.
I like the opening shot of the title sequence when they're going down that hallway. A lot
Yeah.
of red, blue, and yellow in that one.
I'm pretty sure that's a
Yeah,
shopping mall where the design is the stores are on the outside on the upper floor, and then on that main walkway, the stores are below it, but it's meant as like a parkway going through.
bro, that's some
It's,
Canadian
it's
bullshit.
supposed to be like a
Like,
European arcade look.
oh,
Interesting. I thought it was like a university campus and they were in the university gym.
Hmm. That could have
I
also
didn't know
happened.
what it
I
was.
could not figure out where they were for the life of me in this movie.
Well, I
Um,
googled it, and it's some the lake they're at is on the American border. It's like in Vermont. The lake is shared in
yeah, well,
Vermont.
because they talk about the nuclear bombs going off, and that Champlain or Plattsburgh would be bombed.
Oh
That they would
wow,
see that, which is also a fun time capsule reference of like the '80s of like
it's a
we were
fun
kind of
time.
actually afraid of getting nuked. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Um, What do you guys think about any like the level of like detail, like each person that would go into their sexual exploits or escapades, like any of them that stood out that were a bit shocking to you, women or men?
I mean, I've never understood the swingers thing. At first, I thought that was why you picked this movie, Jared, because you seem to have such a preoccupation with swinging. Um,
No, I
but
swinging only took up a small part of this movie, but no, I had no idea this was included in the movie.
okay, got it. Yeah, that part was like, I don't know. I still can't like wrap my head around people who do that. Um, Other things that stood out.
The woman who get like the BDSM woman I found interesting, and then he
Oh
shows
yeah,
up and he's just a total dick and um, and kind of a fairy. You know, that guy's
Mario.
got he's got stuff in his ears, and
Yeah,
I thought he was
he's
the
hip,
best actor of
and
everyone.
he's got eyeliner on his eyes,
yeah.
and he's give the gay guy's giving him looks like he's trying to feel him out a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And he wants a beer and he's pissed off it's a pilsner. I mean, he's probably the person I most relate to in terms of how he reacted to these fucking French frogs chatting it up at the dinner table. He's like,
Jesus.
"This is bullshit. You always want to fuck, have an orgy." And then I thought the movie was going to go, "Oh," and then everybody fucks.
Right.
That's what was going to happen,
I thought this was building up to an orgy the whole time. I thought that's what this
which
was.
would have been great.
I mean, sort of they were having an orgy or a wife swapping party just over a longer time horizon, like over a number of months they had an orgy because they're all fucking each other is what we learn, you know?
Yeah, that was also crazy. I thought
I found his critique a little bit stupid because he's like, well, you guys don't fuck, you just talk about fucking, but then we see through all the cutaways that
they're
these people
fucking.
are fucking constantly. And it's like, this guy's an idiot. Like, they're definitely
That
having sex.
Yeah,
um,
that's so true.
I so
And
you
they're all
talked.
history professor. Oh, sorry, Jared. What did you gonna say?
Yes, they are all history professors. Danny brought up the interesting point of like not understanding the swingers. I thought this movie actually did one of the better jobs of like articulating how some people rationalize swingers, and the
He's
guy.
such a swinger. It's
No,
crazy. He
no, no,
just.
no, no. Remy, the dude was
Like,
like,
how do you know?
because I also don't quite understand like how people like, oh, what motivates them, but like he's
uh,
trying to say it like brings the relationship closer together, and like
Yeah, and it
I could
allows
see,
you to like I don't know, explore without like doing it something without the knowledge of your partner or something.
or like you're also letting them like take the same opportunity at the same time. Is so I this game brings up like a larger question: is like all this casual sex revolutionary, or is it just like a privilege of the upper class, the
Interesting.
bourgeoisie? Because these are all very bourgeoisie type intellectuals.
Right.
Well, so two things. Number one, that's what I was saying the conservative take is that the director is going for is like, oh, this is all just like none of this is liberating and like these people are just pursuing their private pleasure for no actual gain. That's like what he wants to say. It is an extremely conservative position, no matter how you square that. The second thing is that in terms of like, according to what I read, the intellectuals being the like target group that he's depicting here has nothing to do with his message. It only had to do with the fact that those people were most likely to speak the type of French that would be accessible to the global French movie
Uh,
watching audience. And so, because like they would have a lesser Quebecois accent because they're more highly educated. So then you can show
oh,
this movie in France, you can show this movie in Africa, and people will understand what they're saying. It'll be believable. And so that means that like he's not even trying to say anything about the fact that these are professors that are sexed up. It's just like a commercial market-based consideration.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think anyone in Africa is watching this thing.
No, 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 no. They had that one African visiting professor
Oh yeah, Mustafa.
who almost
Oh,
got the
with the
transgender prostitute.
Yes, that was
which is like
classic. Yeah, another like conservative moment.
I like
which
that
is
Yeah.
one. No.
I was like, duh, the person's trans. How are you not seeing that?
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe how ugly everyone was. and smelly. I just can't. I can't take how smelly the French are, specifically the French Canadians. And I know some people are francophones on this call, and they love the French culture and everything, but I just find it deplorable.
I don't know if French Canadians smell as bad as French people.
Worse, bro.
The funny
Worse?
part
Do you know
is,
that for a fact?
You just tell. You just tell.
well, because they got to wear all those layers, and that probably just captures in the stinkiness. They're up there in the cold of Quebec.
Yeah. It's inside, and they're eating fish all the time. Are you kidding me? Fish soup or whatever that was.
Their dish
Fish
low-key looked pretty good.
loaf? Fish?
I kind of want to go to Montreal now.
I'd rather kill myself than sit at that dinner table with all those French fucks.
That sounds like what the graduation party is about to be.
And when they played this at Cannes, 20-minute standing ovation. I mean, what the hell were they clapping for? That it was over? That they were so happy it ended?
This movie. Remember my rant last? Can you remember my rant last week about like movies that made an impression on me,
Yeah.
or how I want movies to make an impression on me? This movie was like, I mean, it made less of an impression than Mamma Mia. It was just like nothing stuck with me.
I like that conservative take, though, that it's this guy's just airing his conservative grievances. And I guess
It's
it was
like,
funny. Like, did you guys laugh at all?
I did not laugh like at all.
I thought it was
Was
funny.
it supposed to be funny?
It's billed as a comedy.
What'd you laugh at? What'd you think it was funny?
So I thought the cruising was pretty funny when the gay guy was like just walking through the park, like cruising, like all the casual. I learned what cruising was. I never knew that was a term.
Jared just calls that a walk in the park.
Just a walk in the park. Just Sunday strolls, dude. But like, think about this. I'm borrowing from my my relative Roger. I think we're all making a mistake here, thinking that this movie is about sex. It's really about how sex has been replaced in our society with the basis of just thinking and talking about it rather than what it really is. So, I think this is one of those items where if we were given a bit more of Sydney Sweeney style voyeurs nudity and the spiciness, I think we might have been happier with this, but we had to use a lot of imagination. There's only some very relative modest sex scenes with it.
Yeah.
I think it upset us because I don't know, it might have got you spiced up.
No, I can't say it made me particularly horny.
You, Tim?
No, absolutely not. I was disgusted by these people. Inverted. Everything went inverted.
I thought the women, a lot of them were attractive because they were like very normal type people.
I suppose, yeah.
Like the younger student, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, younger student.
She was wearing a weird getup at the massage parlor.
What do you mean, like?
Yeah, they were going for like a Oriental
Asian
thing. Yeah.
And okay, can we talk about the name of the film? You kind of mentioned it earlier, but they only bring it up in passing, really, at the beginning, right? That first conversation she's getting interviewed for. And I actually forget what she says. What does she say that's the reason for the downfall of America? Do we remember?
It's because of private happiness. Everyone's pursuing their own happiness.
Oh, right, yes. Instead of the good of the group or the community.
Yeah.
Which that kind of almost brought them apart at the end, is Remy's and all the others' individual happiness almost destroyed that relationship and almost could have ruined the rest of the weekend.
Do you agree with the thesis of the film, Jared?
The what? That everyone's happiness is like people prioritize it, and that's what kind of is hurting a lot of the country. We don't have a very united type approach.
Yeah. Is that what you think?
I agree with it a little bit. But I also think the movie's very hypocritical of like these people try to claim that they're going to be. What, is it that bad?
No, it's fine. It's kind of like talking to ChatGPT. Like there's like always a second where it has to think about it. But you're fine.
All
You're
right,
totally
good.
fine.
But
Go on. I didn't
these
mean to
people try
interrupt
to
'cause I
have a
want to
very
hear
like
this.
libertine type lifestyle that like they think they can be free, that they can have all this choice, that they're open minded, but they all have the similar insecurities. They all kind of have their own similar hypocrisies about it, and they are just as selfish as what the Americans that they might be trying to avoid that they're saying are as well. But I think what's her name? Not Donna. That's Mamma Mia. Dominique. Um, she kind of didn't they say like, "Hey, we're on the peripherals of America, so we are just going to decline just as them as well." And that's what they're also kind of
Mm.
alluring to
Well,
that
she says
nuclear.
it's better to decline, better to be on the periphery when it declines or something. Yeah.
Oh, they were saying that, yeah, and that's when they were like talking about the nuclear
Of course,
fallout
it's
as
funny because
well.
it's 40 years later, and you know,
What do you mean, Danny? Like we're 4 years later, we're still declining?
yeah, like they're like, oh, we'll be fine, and maybe it'll be rough for a little bit, and now it's like 40 years later, and we're like, oh, America's gonna decline.
Right. Have people just been saying this forever?
Yeah, like,
Interesting. They're saying fall of America when this is Reagan years. This is individualism at its finest, where we're succeeding because of it. Right.
yeah, so maybe they were
Uh,
just early on their prediction or something.
That's
yeah.
an
So maybe he's
interesting
kind of woke
question.
for that take.
Is Canada stronger now than they are then in 1986?
I have no
Surely,
idea. I don't
yeah.
know enough about Canada, honestly.
It's an interesting topic. Some may be. I have a feeling some Canadians that I work with and talk to might actually argue that the Canadian culture has declined more than Americans in 40 years.
Oh, for
There's a
sure.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of upset Canadians with like whether it's just the large influx of like immigrants in their larger cities or just like the shift in how they have their values or the structure of government or role of government in their lives. It's interesting to see the division in
Yeah.
Canada, despite
The
Americans may be
80s were
like
better as the 80s the 80s were a better aesthetic for Canada. Like the Canadian tuxedo was invented then. Everybody had bad hair. I think that did them some good. There's obviously too liberal now, and so
you could
that
get
has
away
sort
with
of
being
ruined.
stinky in the 80s a lot easier than now.
Oh Jesus, yeah. You
Think
got to
about
remember,
that.
it's 10 years from the '70s. The '70s were the stinkiest years of human history.
No one has AC,
So
air conditioning.
no. Oh Jesus.
I bet I wonder because we talk about the gay guy having his. He never said AIDS, but they like kind of allured to it a little bit. Alluded,
Yeah.
not allured. Um, but imagine how many UTIs existed in the 70s and 80s just because how stinky people were not washing themselves.
Oh yeah. Crust. Them things be crusting over.
Blah. I was also a little
Blah is the movie. Blah. Wasn't there also a part where they were racist, or am I just like misremembering?
They were talking about
What they,
Sort of,
they were talking about
maybe with
black
the Mustafa
penises.
guy.
Yeah, the women were being a little bit racist.
Oh,
And
yes.
this is not to generalize like that. All women are like this, but it is interesting that in this film they portray the woman as being like much more like demeaning towards physical characteristics than any other ones than the men are.
Yes, that's kind of what I was referring to earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
does size matter? Let's get to the root cause here.
I don't think it
I
does
I mean,
don't.
they're
because
like, oh, it's so funny how men they all worry about it, and then the one woman's like, well, I mean, it
It
is
does
important.
matter.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what the fuck?
but it's
Yeah.
funny the woman who said that also fucked Remy, the guy with the bad bod, who we get to see some full frontal nudity and he has a small little thimble of a wiener.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it reminded me of someone on this pod.
Oh, I don't know.
It is interesting
I
about the
wonder,
French. What'd you say, Jared?
I wonder if the Raptors fans were able to see him.
Yeah. The Cavaliers are going to need some help from. They're going to need a little more than 2 inches to get out of this 3-1 deficit. But
Put me in, coach.
what was I going to say? Oh, the French have a cheating culture. They almost invented adultery. The presidents are always sleeping with mistresses and marrying their teachers. Shout out Macron. So have the Canadians stolen that? The French Canadians is it a cultural thing? If you speak this gobbledygook, do you have to be an adulterer?
Well, like the French Canadians like consider themselves French and don't want to be a part of Canada.
Right, which is fucked
Like there
up.
was like a separatist movement for a while, slash
Still
maybe there
is.
still
So,
is.
so stupid.
And like they're like you have to like school, you have to do it in French. Like they're very like even though like they're so far removed from French and haven't been at French for like so long, it's like kind of
300
ridiculous.
years.
Yeah, it's like ridiculous. But yeah, the French, they did come up with cheating. They also kind of came up with polyamory.
Ah,
Yeah,
Yes, the libertine culture.
yeah.
Are they the same
they should
thing?
put it back in their pants, frankly.
But I just think like honestly, like people are this is the thing that I like think about sex, which is that there's probably like on average the same amount of sex happening at any given time as there was at any other given time in human history. And so it just like changes forms. Like, okay, sure, maybe there's more polyamorous couples in Brooklyn right now. Or maybe there's like a little bit more gay sex now than there was before. Or like
But they say kids
eh,
are having less sex,
right.
though.
This is like a claim that people make, but like, is it true or is it like different ways of having sex, like cyber sex, or is it like different taboos that are in place where people won't share versus will share at different
The
times in human
rise of
history?
gooning. The rise of gooning.
Yeah, and like,
What's
who
gooning?
are we to count that as not sex, perhaps? You know what I mean? And so, like, my take is kind of that, like, people are engaged in sexual behavior in the same amounts, just distributed differently throughout all time. And so, all of these sexual panics are like, oh, this is like different than it was before. Like, I think none of it's true. Like, people are just horny and they figure out ways to be less horny when they can.
Yeah, it's all conjecture, right? I mean, there's no way to measure this thing. And people lie about sex all the time.
Yep. Yeah. Like how much of like the kids are having less sex now thing is due to over reporting from the past. Yeah, like it
Right.
is
Those kids
almost
in
the
the
only
90s were
place.
lying all the time.
Yeah, and so like when the thesis is like, oh, private pleasures cause downfall, like we don't the whole point of private pleasures, as John pointed out, like sex is the most private pleasure, and there's because it's so private, like no one knows, you know?
Hmm. Wow.
And like even that woman who's with the blonde bob and she's like going on the rant about like how she and her husband Remy have it all figured out because XYZ. And then like it cuts to Remy like fucking other women in Montreal that she's friends with and talking to in the gym.
Oh,
And it's
jeez.
like even her rules, their rules, she's completely unaware of. Like how are social
Yeah,
scientists going to be aware of this? How are historians going to be aware of this?
absolutely. You're trying to tell me
I
the Pope, all these popes haven't had kids? I mean, there have been some with mistresses. They've all been fucking.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Francis. We know what he did with JD Vance.
I got 2 points to make. One, French Catholics are Catholics that we got to really keep an eye on a little bit. They're the ones, they're the ones like you said invented the mistress. You have your wife and then you have your girlfriend. Very French tradition. Number two, we talk about. You did mention J.D. Vance already, and the whole American population decline. Now we need to have more American families. People need to have children again.
True.
I wonder if JD Vance is like inadvertently aware, or if he is aware how he has inadvertently placed his image in like the mind of men who say, I need to go home and impregnate my wife because of JD Vance told me to. There has to be a certain percentage of the population this is that brainwashed people are actually like following.
Yeah, and they all mostly live in Ohio, I think.
And
Better
wouldn't that
take
be? Imagine you're conceived with your the planter having the vision of JD Vance on his mind.
Yeah,
That's
that
a
is a little weird.
that's a sad
But
thing.
that's
That's like that in a lot of like these cult personality cultures of like when the great leader is telling you like I need more of you people. And
oh yeah, it's definitely happened throughout history, right? I mean, Mao Zedong sort of, did he do something with that? China is like you can't have girls. Imagine that. Imagine if JD said that. Can't have any women.
I did a JD Vance thing at karaoke this past weekend. I it was the call me Mr. Flintstone. I'll make your bed rock. And then there was a couch at this bar, and I started humping the couch, like doing the worm on it. And
Yeah.
I yelled at the bar, "I'm JD Vance. I'm JD Vance." No one liked it.
Empty bar, just completely empty
No, I was
bar.
with like a group of like it was some girl's birthday party.
Oh, Jamal Charles was there, and
Jamal
like
Charles
Dante Hall. That's sick. That's cool. I wish JD was in this film so we could sharpen up these people and take their stupid state to make.
Did you guys
their
like the
stupid-
part when they said "Mamma Mia"?
I did hear that part. That made my ears stand up.
At first, I was like,
No,
"Is this
I
why
like
Jared
that.
picked the movie?" Because he wanted another. He googled like movies that reference "Mamma Mia," and then he picked this.
There was weird like American phrases they would say,
Yeah,
and
I
then
liked when they would switch into American.
they'd say it in an American accent, and then they'd go back into a French. And like, whoa.
I liked those moments. That's a real decline of empire right there. Oh, people are speaking your phrases.
Oof.
I think the scene that captured the decline of empire was when you had him going up to the transgender hooker, but in the background there's McDonald's. Is that you?
Oh, I
You're in
didn't catch the
Montreal.
Mickey D's.
Yeah, you're in Montreal, which is like a very like city that's very proud of its architecture, but like at the same time this exists
Oh,
as well.
interesting. And McDonald's a symbol of American consumerism and
Yes.
excess, and then the trans person, being that.
What country do you think people try to blame like transgender like prominence over? Like, do you think there is a country?
Thailand.
Yeah, but like no one ever sends hate towards Thailand. Like we just had the White Lotus cover that, and it didn't even talk about like touched up lady boys just a tad.
I mean, it was
You're-
like a 30-minute dialogue in one of those.
Yeah, but just a tad. We're talking like 10 minutes of Sam Rockwell to like 9 episodes of like other shit.
So you're saying what country do we blame for the trans people?
I'm surprised there isn't a country that like Americans have not started to blame for like transgender.
Oh yeah, we love a scapegoat.
We love a scapegoat, and that's actually interesting. Like people kind of blame like gays on Europe a little bit. Like, oh, is he gay or
Mhm.
European?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's a domestic terrorism plot.
Maybe the rest of the world is blaming it on us because it's so obviously us.
Like, what
I
if
mean,
it
Britain
is?
definitely is blaming it on us. Russia blames it on us.
Oh
I think
yeah.
it's us.
It
I
is
think
kinda
that's the
funny.
reason
I
why
feel
is because
like,
it's
I do
us.
talk to.
Like
I've
the
actually
Thailand
had this
thing
not.
and like there's also the Indian thing about like being intersex. Like those aren't like they aren't culturally exporting that, but we're like culturally exporting the fuck out of trans stuff.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
us. That's why we can't scapegoat it. It's the one thing that the U.S. can't figure out how to scapegoat.
Dude, that we don't have a trade deficit in that. We are
Yeah,
exporting.
yeah.
That's pretty funny, actually. We just came to a very good point, which is also kind of interesting too. I had a Dutch guy a couple weeks ago like make fun of me because he's like Americans are way too sensitive now, which I never would have thought that I would have a Dutch person say that to me.
Yeah. Totally.
Not that this connects directly to what we were just discussing, but maybe we think we have that supremacy that we think we're so special, the exceptionalism. But back to our cabin retreat. Dinner looked nice.
Dinner looked nice. No, it looked terrible.
It looked healthy.
All I heard you say was dinner looked nice. That was your point? That dinner looked nice?
Am I coming in that bad?
Well,
Sometimes, yeah.
it was just then. You said dinner looked nice. What else did you say?
Oh, it kind of looked like when I made Hank his birthday cake tuna casserole.
Cat
Remember
food. It looked like cat food.
Yeah.
It really did. And did they even show the food? I mean, my eyes were glazed over. I read the subtitles the whole time. I'm not looking up at these people.
Oh, Tubi was also bad to watch subtitles on.
I didn't have a problem. And once again, I didn't get any commercial breaks on Tubi. I don't know what's going on. It
Well,
must be my
I
VPN.
watched all of your ads I watched your ads because fucking A, this hour 40 movie was like 2 hours and 30 minutes long because of these ads.
You gotta get a VPN, bro.
Couldn't believe it.
The Woody Allen reference, that was fun, especially because this movie basically is a bad Woody Allen movie.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to be Woody Allen. Oh,
And
that was
then, but
so
they're
weird
making
when
fun of Woody
when
Allen.
all the guys are dancing around pretending like they're going through all the things they say to women in order to sleep with them. You remember that? That's when
The
they say
dancing
Woody Allen.
sequence was actually kind of funny.
I thought that was a
When
very
they're like yelling
honest.
about how little they like dancing. I
Yes,
liked that part because I
I
feel
thought that was
that.
a very honest part of the film.
Yeah.
That the men are so aware of what they're saying is bullshit, but they all play this game in order to just simply. It's the hunt. It's it's the pursuit that they're going for, and that's what these men, they try to get this machismo that like they can still pick up any woman they want whenever they want. And I think that's what a Remy's really aiming for. A lot of this is like that, thinking that like he's a history professor and he sees all these great men and all these great masculine leaders, and he sees like their independence and ability to have free will, and he sees that like his marriage is not something that keeps him down, but it strengthens him at his core, but allows him this platform to go launch other pursuits.
I have no
Yeah.
idea what you just said.
Yeah,
I
wait, what did you say? Can you explain that again?
what
I have no idea what you just said.
It
I went
wasn't a
on
lag
like
issue. It was like that didn't make any sense.
what what that was really good. That Remy is like he
I think you
damn
said
it
Remy. My brain went to Ratatouille, and I was like,
damn it this is
Ratatouille.
oh my god, this is a brain dead episode. Damn you, Canada.
Try again.
Okay, Remy's a history professor. He likes
Yeah.
strong masculine figures.
Does
with
he?
with that,
That's a big jump right there because that's not even proven.
I think it is.
There's no proof. You're just projecting.
Whatever. I'm done.
Is Remy the gay guy?
No, Remy's not the gay guy. That's Claude. Claude's the guy who's peeing blood.
Claude teaches a
Remy's,
class at the end, doesn't he? Don't we see him teaching a class?
yes, he's teaching like art history, it seemed like. That was one of the more interesting parts of the movie, actually, from like a thematic perspective.
Claude was also a great party host. I did like him a lot.
That's true. He
Yep,
offered a beer to the mean guy, and he's like, "I have a pilsner. It's delicious."
He did most of the dinner prep.
yep.
And he pissed in the toilet. Fucking A. He pissed
He
3 gallons.
consoled the one lady who, like, when she had the revelation that her husband's cheating on her pretty consistently.
That was crazy when that woman just like decided to tell her friends that her two other friends were sleeping with her husband.
In front
Bold.
of everybody.
That's a big party pooper behavior.
Yeah,
Especially
big
when you're
faux
at a
pas.
cabin. You're at a cabin and you're trapped there, basically.
And remember the
Imagine if
guy's
that happened
like,
to you, what would you do?
"She's lying. She's lying."
Oh, you're saying I'm Remy in this situation? And,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh god, yeah, you have to go full nuclear on everybody.
Yeah, you completely deny,
Yeah.
and say proof. Where's your proof? You have no proof. You lying bitch.
But then when the other woman says, actually, I also slept with you.
I'd be like, you guys discussed this out of turn. We're going back home. We're never speaking again. You have to go full nuclear.
That'll
You
be a
can't.
bad day. That'll be a bad day.
Luckily, I'm not going to put myself in that situation because I'm not
Yeah.
a French fuck.
Also,
But
I
I
don't think any of them
mean,
use any.
we have a professor on the call. Hey,
What'd you
what?
say, Jared?
I don't think anyone used a condom in any of this movie.
Oh, gross. Well, yeah, we know. We know one guy did. Bloody Boy didn't use one.
Ugh.
Danny, as a professor, does this happen at schools? Do certain, and you don't have to name names or take ownership, but do some departments, are they all finagling? Are they all fucking? Are they all sucking and lucking?
Not like as aggressively inter between each other as this one, but there are instances that I'm aware of. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go by the phrase, don't make honey where you make money.
That's not what people say. People say don't shit where you eat.
And
And
you
you
know
can
what?
similarly say, don't make honey where you make money.
I like that better. As
Well,
someone
what if
who
I want to make
definitely
honey where I want to make money?
What if you what?
What if I want to make honey where I it's like
You're gonna
shitting where
get
you eat makes no sense, but making money where you make honey feels fine.
no, because then your money gets all sticky. And
John,
Okay.
listen,
yours makes so much more sense because I shit at restaurants all the time.
I try to avoid shitting at a restaurant, but okay.
Sometimes that food goes right through you, especially if it's
but
high fat content.
Jared, you did make honey where you
I
made money
I
technically,
made yeah,
so I won't.
my honey got
It
Yeah,
worked.
you've
all over
actually
my
made
money.
honey where you make money all the time, like
I'm
three
currently
relationships
basically.
out of it.
Yeah. It's and you know what? It's gotten sticky. You got the bees start coming and the ants start coming.
It's getting sticky in this bitch.
Also, let's go to the professor who went to the massage parlor and found out like the one girl's a student at his university.
Oh yeah, once you learn she's a student, you go,
Oh, I'm
I'm
out
gonna
of
need it.
here.
I'm gonna need a
But
different.
it made him come even harder. He
Yes,
says that.
intellectual orgasm. Have you ever had that form of an intellectual orgasm? Any of you?
No, what the hell is that's some pretentious bullshit.
Not like in the moment of fucking, but I would say I usually tend to avoid fucking people that I don't have an intellectual connection with.
All right, no, sure. But he was turned on by what she was saying. Like,
Yeah, like it's not like it's not like a simple one-to-one correspondence for me, no.
She was like talking about history and stuff.
While jerking him, which actually that whole scene was very J-Red coded.
Yeah, I actually
Start to
got
finish, I was like, this is like a vision into his world. Like I have VR goggles on.
what would be the worst
I started
historical
blushing.
event to be lectured on while you're getting a hand job?
The Holocaust?
Okay, other than the
Hmm.
Holocaust.
Other than the Holocaust, other
Well,
Rwandan genocide?
I was just gonna say any genocide.
Okay, what would the best historical event be?
Oh, that's a better question.
Like Genghis Khan, like him conquering.
Mm,
A weird thing to say, John. Um,
what's sexy stuff?
huh.
Ooh, Catherine the Great banging horses.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Joan of Arc, maybe.
Even
Marquis de
some.
Sade.
Who's that?
He's the French guy credited for the sadism refers to him.
Oh.
Very, very. I did not. Very smart. Oh, what about like John F. Kennedy, like banging Marilyn Monroe? Did we lecture about that?
I think he might get his brains
Oh
blown
yeah.
out.
Oh yeah, that shot from the book depository. Oh,
If you watch the Zapruder film, how fast would you bust?
Back and to the left. Back and to the left. Back and to the left.
Uh,
That'd be a funny
the
porn
election of
parody to
Donald
make.
Trump in 2024.
you're just watching the inauguration. Somebody definitely was getting head during the inauguration, like was
Whoa,
watching how it happened.
that'll be fun. Top
Uh,
historical moment to have sex during.
Okay.
oh, I came across this very long
Bombing
ago.
of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Oh God. Oh,
Wait,
imagine
in
if
the plane or on the ground level?
On the ground level.
like in your shadow is casted. You know how people got vaporized,
Oh shit! Yeah.
and imagine it's you just giving someone back shots.
Like in Pompeii, but with the
Yeah,
Japanese.
like in Pompeii.
Our
Um,
best place to get head would be first man lands on the moon.
Oh.
wait, but there's
But like
only
she's trying to
men.
spin in their hand and it's just like we're going off into space.
Wait, it's only men that landed on the moon. Who's giving you head?
Alien, bro, the aliens.
Hey, we don't call them aliens, we call them unplaneted people. Unearthed people.
Um, did you guys? Did this ever come across your feed on like during the 2020 like the George Floyd protest? there's like a lot of random people that would try to go Instagram or Facebook Live, and it would be like a girl trying to like do something with a black dude, like give head or like it was really weird. And it would be
What?
like, dude, Facebook and Instagram was not stopping these people from just like live streaming straight up porn.
I have
What are
no
you
idea what you're
talking
talking about.
about?
Yes, this was a
There, that
thing.
boy ain't right.
It was a crazy time on. You gotta remember, social media in 2020 was like getting absolutely crazy, and then
Yeah, it was
they
COVID
censored it.
too.
Yeah, it was COVID and like the
I don't know
country was
what
on
George
full
Floyd has to
sword.
do with any of it. That was weird.
No, it would be like a white chick like giving a black guy head, and she put like BLM on her like butt.
Yeah, I
I
really
shit
don't.
you not. I shit you not.
You're crazy for this.
This was not like I sought it out.
It
This
sounds a
showed
little
up.
bit like the Antonio Brown Snapchat story, but
It kind of was like that.
What was he
what did
doing?
he say in his?
I don't know. Oh, something about white women, like white women are
Yeah,
devil because his baby mom is white, and
yeah, it's funny. I can't remember what it was though.
Hmm.
oh, he would have loved this film. Antonio Brown.
What else do we have to say about this film? I kind of, they did need Jesus in their lives. I feel like if they were Catholic in this, they would be a lot better.
Absolutely, I
Um,
wholeheartedly.
I thought it was interesting. The one guy, the Remy guy, when he was talking about his love affair with that girl at a conference in San Diego. I
Which
was
is
like,
what he said.
"That's my future." I was like, "That's my future." I'm gonna have pics of some girl that I met at a conference, and I'll be like, mm.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of fun though.
Hmm. Other things I thought about.
I was
Honestly, it
just
was
thinking,
so boring. It was such a boring movie.
yeah, crazy. Like we've watched some slow burns. This one's tough. This one's up there.
This
Yeah.
was potentially. I couldn't figure out which one I disliked more, this or the Woody Allen.
It's so funny too that you picked. It's so funny that you picked it
I'm.
because you had all this time to think of a film to watch and you picked the worst one.
I
Not
tried being
to.
nice to you guys and picking something that you thought would be like intellectually different.
It
Uh,
wasn't even like stimulating at all. Like that was it was like faux intellectual.
mm,
Like it had one thing to say and it spent the whole time saying it with thousands and thousands and thousands of words.
Do you think?
absolutely.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. Contrary to what I typically put as films, this film did not know what it was.
No, I think it did know what it was. It's in what I read, it said like he wanted to make a My Dinner with Andre.
Right.
Yeah.
But this just sucked.
Yeah, it was just I'm not really into movies that are like that.
Yeah.
I guess it's
Like
before
even the
pod.
movies that you guys have disliked the least that I've pulled from my catalog of like artsy foreign films, they're not talkers. They are not talkers ever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. The talk. It just feels like we're getting talked to. And
Hmm.
then at some point, I'm like, I'm not going to retain whatever point you're trying to make because you keep going on to the next thing and the next thing, and it's just exhausting. It's an exhausting experience.
This
Yeah.
this actually felt very realistic. That I was just hanging out with a group of us that like we ran out of things to talk about, so we just talked about sex on like a friends weekend.
I guess so. It just feels like I'm on vacation and I somehow met these weird old people and they were nice to me for one moment and so then they invited me to dinner and then I'm stuck with them and I don't know how to get out of it.
Are you the young guy, the Bradley Cooper lookalike?
Yeah, probably. I get laid
You do get laid. That is kind of cool.
by the
Um,
grandma.
I thought. Oh, what was the one thing about the one lady who was like into BDSM now? She was like
Yeah.
liberated. Do we think there's anything grander than that, or is just a lady in her 40s who's just like enjoys rough sex now?
She was probably the most interesting. She asks her friend, I'm scared. And her friend goes, oh, because of what he could do? And she's like, no, of what I could do as the submissive one. Like
Yeah,
she
like
doesn't.
she's like, I want to keep it pushing further and further.
And she said there's a lot of power in being the victim. I actually thought that was interesting.
It was very piano teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how I was saying in the piano teacher, oh well, she wants him to take control, but really in doing so, she's taking control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's sort of like Me Too movement too, where everybody gets power for being the victim. You say you're the victim.
Whoa. You went there.
Jeez Louise.
No, no, no. We believe women on this pod. That's all I gotta say about the film.
That's
That's
Anything
the
else?
end. We believe women can't cut.
this was I
Should
have
we
nothing
review
else I
this
want to
thing,
push
or
for.
does anyone else
Let's
have something
review
to
it.
say?
Let's review it. I have
All right,
nothing with that of emphasis.
why don't you go first? How do we usually do that? I go last because it's my turn next.
You go last. I'll go
Yeah.
first. As I said, it didn't make an impression on me. Um, I don't like talking movies. There weren't really that many particularly interesting artistic moments for me, other than the film, the credit scene. Um, I don't think that its message was one, correct, or two, well thought out. Um, yeah, 3.5 out of 5. It was better than like garbage, but it
Wait, what'd you
wasn't
give
Wow.
it?
3.5 out of 5. Better than garbage, but it
Whoa.
wasn't like special in any way.
Dang. You gave it a lot higher than I thought you were. I thought. Okay. Um, for me, I did like actually how the story was told, even though it was a very very boring story. I liked how they set up and introduced each one of the characters, especially with like their flashbacks and how they like did those little cutaways, very strategically timed. The point of the movie and the message, I do agree with you, Danny. It was kind of just I don't know. It really thought it was witty on how it's like trying to pursue like how this sexual revolution, this casual sex environment, is the decline. It seemed like it was on like a very bit of an interesting pedestal at certain points. Um, the weird awkward tackling of the HIV character Claude at the end. I The characters are also interesting how they responded to him having HIV potentially is like they kind of like pause and it was awkward, but like maybe that was just a capture of what the 80s was like. I don't know. Uh Transitions were cool. Pacing was it was so. Um could have probably been cut by about 10% or so. Uh I actually enjoyed the realistic depiction of what people are. No one was hot, no one was sexy, but they're all like average. So that gave it a point. So I'm going though with 2.5 out of 5,
Nice.
which is weird because I feel like I like this more than you, Danny, but I don't think it deserved that high of a score.
Nice. So Jared gave it a point for having ugly people in it. So
Point
if they
for
were all
Fish.
hot, he gave it a 1.5. Um, yeah, I mean, this movie was a stinker. Wah, wah. I'm
It was very Brown's behavior to trade away all your draft picks, pick two bad movies, and then when you finally get another stab at it, pick another bad movie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sorry, John, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just couldn't let that slide.
No, you're good. The We keep talking about the AIDS character, and I do think his depiction is, looking at it now, is sort of offensive. But maybe back then that was really wow. It's like they're showing a gay person with AIDS. Like that might have been really forward thinking. But I don't know. Maybe not. That doesn't even matter. It doesn't change my review of this film. Fucking blows. I don't even want to talk about how stinky. I'm just glad they don't have smell. I'm just glad they don't have smell-o-vision introduced on Tubi, because I would need nose plugs, because I can't believe how stinky these people look, and they're all reprehensible. You want to watch a good movie with old people reminiscing and talking and telling stories? Go watch The Big Chill with Jeff Goldblum. They play great songs in that. At least some of the filmmaking was good. I'm giving this A 2.5.
Damn.
Med settles it.
People have spoken.
Jeez
The
Louise.
people
But
have
at least there was a fish in the
spoken.
movie, and that's good.
Absolutely. A dead fish, though. We'd love to get a live fish. We are going to now announce the next film. Are you guys ready?
All
I'm
right.
ready.
All right. We are going to finally watch a documentary on the
I knew that was
podcast.
coming.
What do you mean you knew that was coming?
Because we talked about, oh, should we do a documentary? Blah, blah,
Um,
blah.
well, we are. And we're going to watch Gimme Shelter, 1970 film by the Maisels brothers. This
Okay.
is a music documentary on the Rolling Stones.
Oh.
We're going to have some good discussion here, and
Ooh.
that's going to be awesome. And it's going to be way better than this.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's got music.
It's got music. You guys seen it before or no?
No, I haven't seen it.
Don't think so. I didn't know
And I
it was
don't
even
actually
old.
know that much about the Rolling Stones either, so.
It's on Max. This is a good one. Summer of Love, baby. Or maybe not love, Summer of Death.
Or AIDS. Keith Richards.
Summer of AIDS. 2025, baby. Summer of AIDS.
Okay, well, thanks for
Jared, you
joining
want to end
us.
this? You want to send us out?
Me or
Oh.
J-Red?
Well, Jared, I feel like he's always got something to say at the end.
Yeah,
Well,
Jared, send us out.
Canada, this was this might have been a big pride for your country, and I don't want to disrespect it. And
Did this win at Cannes?
No.
Huh?
Thank God.
Yeah, but a swing and a miss for Quebec. A big swing and a miss. But we'll keep swimming, and maybe one of these days we'll make it up to St. Lawrence, and we'll meet together on a better day. Ciao.